Hi Pisces, it's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology, and today I'm here to discuss the Libra full moon, which happens April 1st at 7:12 p.m., and that will be Pacific Daylight Time here on the West Coast. So please check for your own time wherever you live, okay? And so the full moon is in your eighth house of regeneration and transformation. Something is ending or profoundly changing for you, Pisces. Yeah. And so let's look at what the full moon really means, though, before we get into your personal horoscope, right? So the Libra full moon, which is ruled by Venus, invites us to more deeply understand our partnerships or how we interact with others. It doesn't have to be specifically, romantic relationship or anything. It is our relationship with other people, our relating. It also will show us, um, will illuminate our perspective on what we feel is fair or balanced in our lives. And Libra invites us to see the beauty in our lives. And Pisces is very much into the beauty of our lives. So that full moon is in your eighth house. This is the house that is hidden, the house of mystery. Um, we can call it that. It is the house of psychic ability and the occult. It can be lifting the veil, finally understanding something that has been kind of hidden from you psychologically. It's a very psychological house. And the eighth house is really it's also similar to the 12th house that you rule, and especially as it is with psychic ability or mystery. And so the full moon will strongly encourage some type of change for you, Pisces, or transformation, as the full moon is being opposed by the sun in your second house of finance and emotional well-being. So, there's something going on for you there. There definitely is. The second house is also our possessions, our self-worth. And that's where the sun is in Aries. That is in your second house. Now, Venus, we'll talk about Venus in just a moment. And the sun and the moon are both in your money axis, the second and the eighth house of transformation. This is a money axis. It sure is. And so, there could be something changing about your finances. Maybe it's your attitude toward finances as well, it could be. But the moon in Libra in your eighth empowers or encourages, rather, a need for balance in relationships where intense psychological issues and shared resources are a part of it. Yeah. And this can be about, shared resources can be about inheritances. It can be about, even shared bills, can be about bonuses and commissions and real estate and things like that. These are all shared resources, and so, right. And so Venus, the ruler of the full moon, is in your third house, and it is conjoined with Chiron, which is in your second house, and in Aries. Chiron is the wounded healer, but there could be something you're overcoming in the second house that has to do with your finances, right? I mean, how can we can overcome with finances? We can have a different attitude toward, a different relationship with it. Maybe something's coming to you, right? Some money's coming to you, could be. But Chiron is in Aries in the second house. It's the wounded healer. But it can be, usually it's the healer of like through introspection, through spirituality, through contemplation, through an understanding, a deep understanding of ourselves. That can be Chiron, where we can overcome or heal something. So Venus is in the third house, and the third house has to do with it has to do with your decisions, your choices. It is the mind. It is the cerebral mind, our intelligence. It's also our communication with others. The third house is also the house of siblings. So maybe there's something going on with siblings there. Also, early childhood. But the third house is about learning as well. And that's where Venus is sitting for you. Yeah, and Venus loves to be in Taurus, so it's very powerful and it is supporting your third house. So maybe you're making some decisions right now, or you're able to analyze. The third house is also analysis. Maybe you're analyzing something, and the Libra full moon is helping you to analyze that kind of more fairly or more balanced. Yeah, very interesting how that is, right? Um, And so that hidden conjunction, why do I say it's a hidden conjunction, Pisces? Because Venus is in Taurus and Chiron is in Aries, right? So Chiron is in the sign of the self. So there could be something very personal going on that is associated with your third house. Yeah, your third house is also where Venus sits, your communication with others. And the Libra full moon can talk about our communication or how we relate to others. So there can be um, a connection there, right? The third house is also where Venus sits. It is about our immediate environment or people who are, or people or whatever that is very familiar to us, situations, people. So there can be something that is kind of that is being supported that has to do with your immediate environment or your, yeah, or whatever people that you are very familiar with. Okay. The full moon is squaring Jupiter. The sun is squaring Jupiter. The sun is in Aries in your second house of self-worth and finance, shining on that house. Yeah, and yeah. And so I know a Piscean who is actually experiencing this right now, right? And which is a great thing. The sun is shining on her, financial house. It really is, right? I think it's, yeah. And so, so when we have the sun squaring Jupiter, Jupiter is also your natal planet, Pisces. So, and the moon, which is in your eighth house of transformation, both squaring Jupiter. There's a growth here, there's expansion and growth, but something has kind of pushed that or created some tension maybe in your life that is encouraging this change, this growth, this expansion. And it can all have to do with, Venus and the second house for you, or the third house for you, rather. But it's all very supportive. Jupiter wants us to grow, as I said, that's your natal planet. But Jupiter wants us to grow and expand. It wants us to understand. It wants us to be enthused about life and to gain experience and wisdom. That's what Jupiter wants. So Jupiter can come in and knock things over for us and change everything. But it is because it feels that we are not growing, right? And so now also Jupiter wants us to grow and expand. It sure is. And so Jupiter in Cancer is in your fifth house of love and desire. Also, your self-expression, and Venus is in your house. Venus is in Taurus. This can be about self-worth, but um, we have when we have Jupiter is in your fifth house, it wants you to grow in terms of your own self-expression and maybe your creative pursuits or your talents. But that is the house that is being squared there where Jupiter sits. um, and so these squares, though, they bring about growth because they invite us, they challenge us a little bit. And that will move quickly. Both the sun and the moon are squaring Jupiter, but they both move quickly. So you may feel this tension just kind of temporarily. But the astrology looks really good for you. And Jupiter is in this house of love and desire, as I said, romantic love. It's about self-expression and how we shine. It can be about our talents. And this is the house of authenticity where the sun wants you to be yourself. It wants you to shine and be authentic, show who you really are, right? And that is the house of the heart. It's also, and that's why it rules creative pursuits and talents, and that's where Jupiter sits. It's also the house of children because that is related to creative pursuits or creativity rather, right? Children are the highest form of creativity. They are. Jupiter is asking you to have self-compassion in Cancer as you grow, as you grow and become wiser. Very interesting and very cool too. Jupiter also rules your house of the self. I was saying that is your where you can see a higher purpose because the North Node is in your sign, Pisces. It's beautiful. It really is. The North Node is your higher purpose. It sure is. And what your soul wants for you. Some people will call it fate and destiny. Some people will call it, your true potential. And the sun is in Aries. I was talking about that, squaring Jupiter. This is asking you to leave behind what no longer serves you. Yeah, anything that doesn't support your emotional well-being, because the Jupiter is sitting in Cancer, and that is about emotional well-being. It sure is. And so your emotional stability, right? And so, yeah, and so Venus is supporting your emotional growth, Pisces, and your expansion, and your well-being. So thank you so much for joining me here. If you've liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell, and you will be notified of my next upload. I'm also a psychic. I have great astrology readings. I do tarot, all kinds of cool readings on my website. I'm also a life coach. So, yeah, I am there to motivate. I sure am. Thank you so much for joining me here, Pisces.